What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? When it comes to protecting what matters, Pacific Life provides life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits for people and businesses building a more confident tomorrow. Strategies rooted in strength and backed by experience. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
Shopify's point-of-sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments in person? We've got you covered. How about card readers you can rely on anywhere you sell?
Thanks, have a good one.
Yep, that too. Want one place to manage all your online and in-person sales? That's kind of our thing. Wherever you sell, businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/listen. Shopify.com/listen.
Power of Pinterest SEO, that is Pinterest search engine optimization plus content marketing for businesses. This is going to be one of the exciting rooms that I am actually going to talk about today with you, because I've been looking online, and one of the major things I'm seeing for the We Don't Play podcast is Pinterest. A lot of Pinterest SEO, Pinterest content marketing, Pinterest trends, Pinterest insights, Pinterest strategies, Pinterest courses, Pinterest tutorials, Pinterest everything. And I'm like, okay, I get it. That's what we need to do. All right, bet. So now I said, it's fine. Let's create something that's going to give you a roadmap, or rather a red carpet for understanding how this works as a business owner, if you consider Pinterest as one of your channels for marketing. And if you currently have let me say it this way, if within your ecosystem for social media marketing, Instagram is one of your business tools for running ads or organic marketing or posting, then Pinterest should not be far-fetched from Instagram. Why? Because I just want to get this out of the way. When you have a Pinterest business account, just like you have an Instagram business account, under your settings in the Pinterest business dashboard is a section that says claim your Instagram profile. So when you claim your Instagram profile, your business profile, what does that mean and what does that do? Let's say you have 1,000 posts, because technically you could have been on Instagram. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm actually going to Instagram right now as we speak, so I can send this to the SEO marketing resources group. I've just sent the link. All right. And you can follow me on Instagram and get to see more resources about SEO and marketing. So when you connect your Pinterest business account and you first claim your website, which is the first rule of thumb, and then you connect your Instagram account, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a little pop-up. It will come to your screen. You got to use your computer for this. You can't use your mobile phone for this or tablet. You log in with your current existing active business Instagram account. When you do that and you authenticate it and it's successful, the next thing that's going to happen is that your Instagram account is going to now ingest all your 1,000 posts that you've published on Instagram, for example, within the last time your account was active. So all those images on your Instagram, mind you, these Instagram posts all have captions, if they do. Some may not, because sometimes people don't put captions, or some people put emojis. However you're going to do it, now captions matter, because captions is what's going to dictate the text and the context of the image that you're describing within the caption field for the Instagram post. So when you now ingest all your Instagram posts into Pinterest, it's going to fall under something called a board, right? Just like on Instagram, you just go to somebody's account, you click on a profile, you click on a page, you click on a link, or you click on a post, you click on a reel, you watch, you comment, you go. Now on Pinterest, all that information that has been happening activity-wise is going to be moved from Instagram to Pinterest. And it's going to be by default called a social board. Now, on Pinterest, there are boards and pins. So think about Instagram like pins without boards. That's Instagram for you. But when you save a post on Instagram, it goes into your collection. That's what they call it, right? But it's a private collection. It's not a public board. So treat that board like a collection, like a yin yang. So Instagram has collections which are private, right? Which you save because you always want to come back to your saved posts. When you go to your settings, you go to your saved posts, you can watch all your saved posts and reels if you want to go back to them later. Same thing with TikTok, same thing with LinkedIn. So you can do this, with X is also there, threads, you can save posts, right? When you save a post, even Reddit, you can save this post and come back later. Even this Clubhouse room, you can save this replay. A podcast, you can save this episode. You can save this YouTube video. You can save what you want to save, right? But some platforms are publicly saved. Some platforms are privately saved. So in this case, Instagram is privately saved as a collection and Pinterest is publicly saved as a board. But you can decide to make it private if you want to in the settings. But by default, most times, more often than not, you're going to have a public board as your Pinterest, right? So if all your Instagram posts that have all the good captions, that have all the good images, that have all the right messaging, that have all been making sense, that have all been seasonal and are all still relevant to your business outfit for today and tomorrow, all that content is going to pour into your Pinterest board. And now your Pinterest board is going to flood into a Pinterest post or a Pinterest timeline. Because every time you hit on a board, it's going to tell you, oh, you have 100 pins, or you have 500 pins, or you have 5,000 pins. Those pins are pins that look like posts on Instagram. It's just that they're put in within collections. So as a business owner, if you're looking for ways to use Pinterest and also use content SEO and use marketing as a source for your own business, this is something to very well take as a point of consideration. I don't know if you've heard this before, but this is a reality. This is true. Do your research. And I always say, do your research, always. Right now, Instagram has a lifespan of 72 hours. That's how long a post would last on Instagram. Ideally, it could last more. You could be on the Explore tab. You can see posts that maybe when today is December 5th. So you might be seeing a post from November 25th. It could happen. It's there, right? So when I say 72 hours, don't just pin 72 hours and leave it there. That could be a plus minus. It's an algorithm, so you can't really put a stamp on it. It's a variable factor. But that's a very big consideration to factor in, because when you realize your content has a lifespan of about 72 hours, what does that tell you about the next 72 weeks? So you start thinking about how your content is also being compounded or repurposed or distributed or being seen outside the ecosystem of a platform that's within an API, which is Instagram. Now, the half-life or shelf life or evergreen lifespan of a post or a pin on Pinterest is 5 months. It's anywhere from 3.5 months, 3.5 months to 5 months. So if you're bringing all your 72-hour posts from Instagram and you're feeding it into a 5-month, I can call it ecosystem or evergreen space, your Instagram posts are visual, whether they're videos, carousels, images, because on Pinterest, anything you can do on Pinterest, you can do on Instagram. Anything you can do on Instagram, you can do on Pinterest, right? It's just that it's two different platforms. And people look at Pinterest as a social media platform. Yes, it could be for people who use it personally, but as a business, it's a search engine. That's why I just didn't do the power of Pinterest, because I can say the power of Pinterest is to search, and search actively and search responsibly and search with an intention, because Pinterest has a taste graph of two things: interest and keywords. The more keywords you type, the more predictive text that you get with keywords that will give you exactly what you're looking for, right? That's why Pinterest is a place of discovery. When you drop the word P, it leaves you with interest. So it's literally in plain sight. Pinterest is full of interesting things for you to factor in, right? But that doesn't stop there. And people say, oh, do I have to post every day on Pinterest? Technically, just like you post in any other platform that you're connecting people on a business day, yes. How do you do it? There are ways to do it. So you create the expression by bringing your Instagram post to Pinterest. Just like if you post something on Instagram and you share it to Threads and you share it to Facebook, it's the same thing that you're doing, that you're sharing to your Pinterest. Same thing with your LinkedIn and your podcast. If you have a podcast, you can go to the LinkedIn settings in your company profile and add your RSS feed and auto-publish your RSS feed by publishing content on a daily basis. So every day on LinkedIn, you're getting a push. Every time you have a podcast, published episode and it's on, let's say 10 platforms or 10 plus 10 platforms, 20 platforms. Let's just say 20 because there was more than that. By the time you're doing that consistently, you've built an ecosystem that is going to build momentum. And at a certain point, you're just going to let it fly. You're going to just realize, oh, wow, okay, this thing is actually hitting its own numbers because you've been able to really give it in a fashionable way and create something that gives somebody something that they can use for life or for another day or for a better day or the day that they need it, they can access it. Pinterest is not a platform that is scattered. It looks scattered because your feed looks like there's a lot of things going on, but it's curated. Because in that curated feed, you're able to actually see what you like, and it's your home feed based on the boards that you create. So you can go to your settings and you can actually choose the boards that you want to see. You can actually arrange the boards by order. You don't have to randomize it. And you can really do it in a way that can give you a better outlook on Pinterest. People undermine Pinterest, and technically, I don't see a lot of guys that talk about Pinterest. So I know that when I hear Pinterest and people talk about it, I look at it from the perspective of SEO, technical, creative, visual, and supportive. I look at it from all text. I look at it from other aspects as opposed to just looking at it like a pin or a board or an image or just a link. So there's way more things to cover. And if you have any questions about it, please ask me in the chat today and I'll answer you. Raise your hand. I'll bring you up. Thank you so much for being here. Koshro, Leslie, Candice, thanks for being here. Austin, Tony T, thank you for being here as well. And Orekelewa Podcast, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Lavetta, thank you for being here too. Austin says, hello, beautiful people. Always a blessing to learning with favor. Thank you for being here. I was supposed to do this room a few days back, but I said, no, I have to do this when I'm fully here with undivided attention. And I think it's good that I did that at this time. So thank you for being here and spending time with me today. This is something I wanted to just break down to you because if you've ever used Pinterest or heard about Pinterest, hey, Adam, when you've thought about Pinterest long-term as a business, your next step is to ask, okay, how does this work? Right? I mean, think about it. You like this car, it drives well, you can see it on the road, you watch Top Gear, or you watch some nice Fast and Furious movie or whatever it is that you like to watch that makes you see fast cars, if you like that. And you're like, I want to drive like that. I want to do this, I want to do that. But you don't know how to because you can't drive. But if you know how to drive and you know how to drift and you know how to swerve, you know how to drive defensively, you can drive with sense and you can drive without making any accidents, God willing, then you can drive with safety and you can drive thinking about the person next to you, behind you, in front of you. So when you think about these things as a business, it's not just in our day-to-day lives only, it's also within what we give and how we receive it. So Pinterest is one place that as a business you can be on and you can really thrive on this platform. I've seen Pinterest do wonders for people. I'll give you amazing examples today. And Leslie says, you're welcome. Thanks for the information. You're most welcome. Thank you for being here too. Appreciate you. Tony T says, I don't know how to drive, but that doesn't stop me from driving. You see, It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. Money Moves, thanks for being here. It's all in the mind, because when you are able to think about something, I mean, Henry Ford said it best. If you think you can or can't, you're right. You're 100% right. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So when you start looking at the bigger picture as a business owner and you ask yourself, okay, what am I really doing with this information? Am I giving people time to really take it in? Is it something that they know about? Is it something they need to research on? Will it take time? And if it takes time, how much time will it take, right? I've been waking up super early to crack my head with some codes, SEO codes that we're dealing with a client, and we're trying to figure out how. I'm just giving you all a case study just to show you how important this is when it comes to images, Pinterest. I won't tell you the full story, but I'll just give you like a little hint of it. There's a client that we're working with, amazing business. And they have roughly at least, I'm just going to give you the base level, at least 20 million pages, at least. So a good chunk of the pages that are within the upper percentile are not being received. They're not being clicked on. They're not being seen. Google is not seeing them. And there's some things I was really understanding, like, okay, how does this work? What kind of website is it? Like, I'm literally diagnosing a website from scratch. Like, you can look at a website, it looks like it's fine. It has great backlinks. It has great traffic. Like, nothing's wrong with it. Like, you're totally okay. You can run for hours, 30 miles, Forrest Gump, you can go. But at some point, you're going to have to, take a little step and watch your step and reflect and think and move, and at the same time, you're planning as you make this moves. So as you're creating these things, you want to know, okay, what is causing this problem? Why is this happening? And they don't know what's going on. So they're coming to me to answer this question that they've been trying to figure out and crack. And I was like, okay, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to figure this out. It took me about an hour to really, before I said bingo, it took me an hour to really understand, okay, what's really going on? Because I was trying to do it's like algebra. SEO is like algebra when you have like millions of pages, because when you have like small sites, medium sites, large sites, extra large sites, there's a whole difference in how, things are done. So I've looked at it from completely different angles. And with this site, it's pretty big. And I know that if this site is going to have to make a big pivot or has to make a big dynamic shift in something that they probably haven't done in a while, or something that they need to do that they probably haven't been planning to or maybe never thought of, is where things are going to shift gears. And that's what they're looking for. Whatever is going to move this needle, if it's going to work and it's going to stay working, then great. If it's not going to work, we're not going to try it. But at the same time, how will you know if you don't try it? But if you've tested the theory and it makes sense and you've applied concept and context, why wouldn't it work? So now I've been able to figure out what's going on. So when I meet with them next week, we're going to dissolve this matter. And I'll talk to you guys about it. When it's all done, I'll really bring it to a really big case study for you to see, so that you also know how this works, because it goes into email marketing, it goes into your content marketing, it goes into your SEO, your website, because we see websites every day. There are 1.1 billion websites, including yours, including mine. But not all websites are active on Google search. And at the same time, not all websites are updated. Look at now, this is 2025. We're going to 2026. Some of your websites, if you've not looked at them, or if you've not really scanned them lately, would still have a 2024, 2023 copyright text at the footer of your website. That's a possible outcome. It's a very possible outcome, because a lot of people don't do that. Some websites you can do it automatically, where it's going to change. Some websites you have to manually go in and update the CMS to actually say, here's the latest version of my website. Just like you have to update your resume, update your job description, update your policy, update your this, your that. You're updating things. You update your life. You read books, you meditate, you pray, you think, you move, you plan. You're not the same person you were a second ago. So when you're using these platforms as a business owner, business to business or business to consumer or direct to consumer, however you're going to do it, the way you're going to send this message to them is going to determine how well structured your website is. Because if you start noticing some things are not happening and they're not working, and you detect that and you fix that and it starts working, you're like, oh, okay, great. Because when you start looking at websites, it starts to get more and more complex. I'll just give you guys a little drop in the ocean because I'm going to talk about this in my next room. I don't know if you're aware about this, but there's something called web guide. And I've mentioned this before, but not at a big scale, because I was not even online to even talk about it, because I'll be seeing these things and I'm not even online to be on Clubhouse, because the last time I was here was right before Thanksgiving. I think it was Thanksgiving Day or the day before. And that was it. And I haven't been on Clubhouse as I normally am, because I've been, doing a lot of things and taking care of family, hosting, cooking, driving, a lot of things, and, restructuring, which is exciting because I said, this week can't go by without me doing something. So I said, I'm going to do this room, whether rain or sunshine, I'm going to do it. I was supposed to do it before. I couldn't do it, but I said, I have some time today so I can cover this and talk about something else tomorrow. Because what I'm noticing is that the search, the semantic web, the internet is changing before our eyes, and we know this. And why am I bringing this up now? Because we're talking about the power of Pinterest SEO plus content marketing for businesses. Now, where does content marketing come in? Because I've talked about Pinterest in itself. Content marketing is technically any multimedia formatted file that you can exchange in form of a message that you can use within a medium. For example, if I have an audio and I'm putting this audio within a blog, and I'm putting this blog and I'm sending it to an email, and this email is receiving it and can click through to get that same message because I wrote it in the subject line of my email or because I wrote it in the title of my episode, then I'm sending a message in form of content marketing. Because what is content marketing? I'm giving you something to watch, to listen to read, to look at, to be impressed by. If you're not impressed by this, you're not going to click on it. Impressions equals clicks. If I'm not impressed, I'm not going to click. You might be impressed, but you might not be, you might not be ready. You might not even be interested at the time. It may be interesting, but you're not interested. And there's a difference. There's a thin line between those two. So when you're creating content as a business, most times I usually ask clients, I ask prospects, I ask people, I ask communities, and I ask, friends, I ask people here on the app, we connect everywhere. And I get to ask, I'm like, how do you guys, do your content? Some people say ads. Some people run ads all day. Some people referrals. I talked to somebody today for the first time. She lives in California, and, hers is heavy on, networking, conference, and referrals. Right? Everybody has their own thing. So I get to meet people for the first time, get to connect with them, and I hear different things. And I'm like, people ask me, how do you do it? I'm like, for me, it's organic. I'm preaching what I'm teaching, and I'm practicing what I'm preaching, and I'm saying what I'm saying to tell you the same thing so that you can see it from my lens or use your perspective to make your informed decision about what I've done for myself based on your logic of the knowledge of the information I've given to you. So when you now use this information and say, if it worked for this industry or that problem or this product or that service, then can my service fit into that same problem equation and solve the equation at the same time? Can we be able to come to an equilibrium? Can we come to an equation that can solve one problem for one person once, or maybe a lot more times than before? Possibly. Yeah, it's very possible. So these are the mediums that we're able to use. So for me, it's SEO, it's podcasting. I talk about these things. I'll be here talking like this. Before you know it, I'm on a call with somebody on Zoom. The next minute, I'm flying to some state somewhere or out of the country somewhere, or we're connecting somewhere on Zoom, on Teams, on Google Meet. Something is happening because we're consistently in communication. On LinkedIn, something could happen. So that's where the building comes from. You're not looking for one thing, because if you're looking for one thing and you're focusing on that one thing, then you're not growing. You can't focus on one plant when you have a whole field. It don't make no sense. You have to focus on the site-wide. You have to focus on the spread so that you can focus on what's happening in between the sheets, in between the lines, in between the minds, in between everything that is giving you those things that are going to make and say, okay, if I just move this that way, or if I move this way or that way, things are going to change. So when you think about those measurements and you start hearing different words, you're like, oh, okay, this could mean this could mean that. It changes a big play on words, especially when it comes to advertising. Advertising, if you have a business, you think about branding and non-branding, keywords, phrases, this is a place to be. Because with content marketing as a business, your goal as a business is to show someone through that multimedia format that what I have can help you do A, B, C, D. Or what I'm saying can help you solve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has to have an equilibrium. There has to be a balance of the equation. So when you're looking at this from the perspective of content marketing for businesses and Pinterest, how do you solve this problem? This is now where everything comes together. This is like the meeting point. Follow these steps and you'll be okay. Step 1, have a website that can write articles and publish articles, which can be submitted to search engines. Step 2, within the articles that you're writing, include multimedia formats like I've talked about, text, which is definitely going to be in your blog or your article. Include audio. How do you include audio? You embed audio players like listennotes.com, Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, whatever you do, you have options. Upload them through your podcast hosting, secure your intellectual property, distribute your content through RSS feed, which is really simple syndication processing. And then you now take one of the platforms, embed that, and put it into your website. When you do that, your website now has an embedded code. What does that code do for you? It tells the algorithm that you have a certain script that is encrypted within a message that is formatted for a certain topic. I just hope that makes sense. So that when you create content that is talking about a certain script that you have pulled out of an episode, which you have published or have featured or have mentioned or have cited, and you're putting that into your domain, which is your website. It's like saying, I'm bringing furniture into my house, or I'm bringing a car to my house, or I'm bringing a baby to the house, or I'm bringing a gift to the house. You're bringing something new that you cherish, that you love into the house, right? So if you love your house so much that you're bringing this type of furniture or this type of frame or this type of style or this type of color or this type of palette, it's because you want to create an accent, or you want to add more color to what you already have, right? So how do you add that color? Is by creating that multimedia format. Because guess what? If my article was 2 minutes long to read, right? If it's a 2-minute read, period. 2 minutes, I'm done reading, I'm out. Let's say I have a 5-minute episode. Now that's 7 minutes. So I've spent 2 minutes reading to completion, which most times is definitely more than 2 minutes. Some people speed read, they could read half the time. And then you have audio, which you can also speed. You don't have to, some people listen to your episode when they have to do it speed times 2, times 4, times 5, whatever that they got to do to listen to you, because people are fast in listening or slow to listen. It depends on how you put it. Silent and listen are the same. It's just how you scrabble the words, right? It's the same difference. So when somebody is listening to your episode or reading in silence, they're taking the information in. They're acquiring information. So if the information they're getting, this is back to business, is information about your product. Did you know that this skincare product can help you solve da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Now, whoever is involved or interested in skincare or in healthcare or in self-care is going to read that and understand what that means for them. Or do they need it? Is it relevant? Is it timely? Is it a smart decision? If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. So you start thinking about those things. You start equating, can I be able to budget it? Can I plan ahead? Can I da-da-da-da-da-da-da? It's up to you. So as a business, you're giving somebody a 7-minute, and let's say you have a 3-minute video. That's maybe an animation, a tutorial, or maybe an explanation or a review or a testimonial, whatever it is. Now you have 10 minutes. You had a 2-minute read that turned into a 5-minute episode that turned into a 3-minute video. Now you have a 10-minute page. And now you take that content and then bring it to Pinterest. And you know what's really cool about this too? Because you have images that you're uploading on Instagram, you have images that you're uploading on Pinterest, you also have images uploaded on your website. That's 3 to the power of 3, which is 9. So if you're looking at your business and you're really trying to figure out, okay, I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? You go to the gym 3 times a week, or you post content 3 times a week, or you have coffee 3 times a week, or you have downtime 3 times a week, or you do something 3 times a week. Those times you do them times the number of times you do them in the year. Like right now, we're getting to 52 weeks in the year, right? So if you've been creating episodes, creating content, creating workflows, creating consistency, and you can actually see it in your data, you can go back and say, because I did A, B, C, D, we're able to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you now have a content marketing system like a website that now has a domain accessible on the internet, which can be scanned and clicked through, you have this blog that's talking about, here's our product guide on how to do this, or here's our FAQ about this, or here's our glossary about this, or here's how we helped this or that. And you send that to people. People can be able to see that on different platforms. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this. When you have an Instagram page and you have an Instagram post, I talked about that 72 hours before, right? Now, 72 hours means that with these 72 hours of, let me use the word screen time, you have this 72 hours of screen time that is allowing your, let's call it your content, to be seen, heard, and remembered, right? When you have this amount of time, not everyone's going to spend that same amount of time all the time, right? So your goal is to make sure that within the first few seconds of the person's time that they are giving attention to you, they're going to pay attention to what you say and respond back before they move on to the next thing. So if that's the case, then that means that your messaging has to make a difference and it has to place a mark. It has to leave a mark. It has to represent something that's going to give you that feedback fast. So within that feedback loop that you're creating as a business, you're creating content that is going to be shown on Instagram, that's going to be shown on Pinterest, that's going to be shown on your website. Now, if you post that Instagram post on your website, great. If you post that Instagram post specifically on your website, here's what I want to say. When you have an Instagram post and you embed, just like we talked about embedding an audio clip the last time for your listennotes.com or for your Spotify or Apple, and now you embed, Ishara, welcome, you embed your Instagram, because you can also embed your Instagram too. When you embed your Instagram, you can take that and then bring that to your website. Welcome, Jennifer. When you bring that to your website, what you're doing is that you're adding more watch time, reading time, impressions time, screen time to that one post, right? So if somebody has seen that Instagram post before and you posted that, let's say 2020, somebody in 2025 can still see that Instagram post on your webpage because they saw your blog on ChatGPT, or they saw your blog on Pinterest, or they saw your blog showing up in the listings. I talked about Web Guide just not too long ago. Web Guide is going to be the new way people search on the web, on Google. Right now, there's something called AI mode. Then you're going to see all. Then before you see images, there's something called web. Then beta right now, and I've been looking at it, and it's very interesting to see exactly what's going on here. So the way search is happening is going to be happening at a really fast pace. Hey, Julie, welcome, Shara. It's going to be at a very fast speed, because when people are going to be searching for things now, Web Guide, which is now Google's new way of searching, is going to be a way that you're going to be getting responses more than the 10 results that you used to be getting. So before, you'd be getting 10 results, page 2, 10 results, page 3, 10 results. Now, Web Guide is going to give you headings, references, headings, citations, headings, links, headings, web links, or web pages, or websites, or blogs, or forums. It's going to be happening. So let's say you tackle the topic regarding something, and you have a podcast, and the title of that podcast ended up on a YouTube channel, which is your channel. Now, somebody that's searching on Google can find that Instagram video because they see an article that shows your blog, which has your, what we talked about earlier, your audio, your video. It also has your graphic. So if it has all these things, a podcast, a video, it has a graphic or an infographic, and it's also on Pinterest, that's a great power tool that you can use. Because what happens, even on something for you to also consider, is when you have a Pinterest account and you have a website, you can also use your XML file. I'll just go a little bit deep into this, which is an expandable markup language file. In other words, it is a set of, I'll say a set of links that have been, then how do I say this? They're not hyperlinks anymore. They're just basic text. Let me put it that way. Because when you have and when you send an email, just to give you like a picture, because I love to paint pictures on this. When you send an email, right, to someone, and you say click here, but that here is nowhere, because they can read here, but they can't click there because there's nothing to click where it says here. That's what I mean with an XML. A HTML means that I have put here, highlighted the copy, and then I've put a link or put a highlight and say, okay, if somebody clicks here, there's going to be a highlighted blue text with an underline that's going to link them or redirect them to another page. That's a HTML. An XML doesn't have that. You can't click on it, but you can see it. So when I talked about an XML file earlier, when you now take the XML file of your blog, and there's an XML file for your blog on your website, and you copy and paste that in your settings on Pinterest, that means if I have an article and that article has 10 images, it means that when my article is published on Google or published on my website first, and now Google sees it, Bing sees it, ChatGPT sees it, other sources see it, on Pinterest, because I've connected it from the back, those 10 images that show up as thumbnails, quote unquote, or as text, or as infographics, or as just images, period, will now show up as 10 individual images on my Pinterest account. So when you think about content marketing here, it's not just it's not one-to-one, it's one-to-many. So if you're able to put all these together and actually fit the Rubik's Cube in, you will be so golden. You'll be realizing that you don't even know where your content is coming from, but it's going to so many places at the same time, because people live in different communities. Some people listen to podcasts on Spotify, some listen on Apple, some listen on YouTube, some listen on Amazon. Some people watch Apple TV, some people watch Netflix. I don't know if you guys know, but Netflix just, outbid everyone else, in the wars. So now, if you look at it, Warner Brothers, you should be able to see it out there. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's a big deal now, because when you look at, just where things are going, the Warner Bros. For 82 billion, that's how much Netflix won the bid. So if you think about now, all your favorite cartoons, all your favorite, Marvels and your favorite shows, even Friends, you think about all these things, right? This is all content marketing. We're talking content, we're talking proprietary information. This is it right here. So you think about this type of stuff and you have your own type of content and you're putting it out on your website and your website is posting it to Pinterest and Pinterest is showing it up on Google and you're showing up consistently and you're compounding that interest. It means that every time you post once, you show up at least 10 to 50 times. You'd rather do that than posting once a day, 50 times in a year, once a week. That's stressful. So you do the math and you tell me which side of the cake do you want to be on, or which side of the fence do you want to be on? So I wanted to talk about this and really dive a little deeper into this because I've been talking about this for a while. So Julie and Shara, welcome. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this and happy Friday.
Hi, Favor. I'm listening to the magic and I love it because there are so many ways for how many people are on this earth, and there are so many opportunities for people to devour your content, and you are the master. So I'll jump in if I can add to what you're speaking on. So thank you very much. And guys, invite your friends because this is a master class today.
Thank you, Julie. I want to ask you something real quick before we come to Shara. When it comes to content marketing and business, especially like for you, when you think about writing and writing for people who are going to see it in the future, because people think about writing and, me included, I think about writing for tomorrow, not for today. So when you think about that, how do you position yourself in a way that you don't have to burn out when you really have to do it in a way that actually would bring back a benefit of some sort?
I hate this new button, on the left hand
Yeah,
side.
I don't know why they switched it.
It's like so awkward. I don't know. Why are they trying to teach old dogs new tricks? So define that. I mean, writing new content for the future. What do you mean? Because is it above staying above the trends, or just like staying consistent with the things that you know? What's the question really?
I would say based on brand and relevance, especially when it comes to credibility and sustainability as a business.
Well, it's about being relevant as a brand. I think you need to earn your media and be surrounding yourself, earn your media and get as much domain authority as you can by earning huge media. Get in the New York Times, get on CNN, get on, I'm not going to say Fox News, get on ABC, Good Morning America, get on New York Times bestseller list, get on Amazon, sell a book on Amazon, have a #1 podcast, get those really rich SEOs. So keep doing those really rich, big things, and you'll always stay relevant. And also know what's trending and know what's important in people's lives, your audience's lives. So that's what I would say my answer would be to your question. Thanks, Faves.
Thanks, Jules. That was very well said. Thank you for saying that. And both Austin and I gave you the fire emoji, so that was dope. You mentioned something that was very big, brand relevance and, staying consistent, especially with the mentions that you gave, because all of those websites, businesses have great DA, which is domain authority. And when you're backed up by that site, it's amazing. I would say this, actually, for those who are trying to figure out what is DA or what is domain authority, I like to simplify these concepts because SEO is already hard in itself, which it shouldn't be. It's very easy, but it's just made hard for no reason. It's just like people say math is hard, but 1 + 1 is 2. But when it gets harder, people start doing other things. So I want to just make this very simple so you can understand what DA means. Now, DA is domain authority. So in other words, if I give you an analogy and I say that, let's just role play real quick. Let's say I'm friends with Shara and Julie, but Shara doesn't know Julie. And I tell Shara, Shara, you need to check Julie out. Julie's amazing. The things that she's done, she's so amazing that I think you guys will be great together. You guys will have a perfect pair and you guys will do so amazingly well. And I believe that if you guys take it off, I'll just be happy that you guys made that connection because I'm 100% sure that you two are great at what you both do and you can tag team at it. When I tell you someone like Shara that, Shara would say, okay, cool. No problem. Because you said it, because I know you favor, I'll listen to what you say so that I know I'm able to now give Julie a head start compared to Julie just showing up to Shara without even having any backup or reference and not knowing any context of that nature. So I'm now the backlink.
It's a warm intro. You're
You
getting
know
a
what I'm
warm
saying?
intro instead of a cold intro, right?
Exactly. It's a warm intro. So when you look at that introduction that has been made, it's easier for you to follow that pathway. So the same thing with your backlink. If you were featured on Forbes or you were featured on Times New Magazine or featured on Entrepreneur Magazine or featured on one news site or you showed up somewhere on TV and it was featured and it was linked back to you, that's a key factor there. It was linked back to you because it came back to you. It wasn't just mentioned and dropped or name dropped. It came back to you. That means that you've been able to get something called a do follow. It means that whatever has happened has followed what has been done. And now you're a benefit or your beneficiary of what has been done because now that warm lead is now easier for you to stay with. So now I have a friend and now we're all friends because we've made a friendship, if that even makes sense. So that's where backlinks come from. The more you're able to have more relationships with other websites, with other businesses, with other content creators, with other publishers, and you get more mentions, the more the internet loves you because you're able to have more credibility over time. So Shara, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And what are your thoughts on content marketing too? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Favor. And hi, Julie. I see a lot of faces that are familiar to me in the audience. Happy Friday, everybody. So I think content is a big engine driver. It always has for me, Favor. You know my story. I honestly have to say this year for me, I haven't posted content much. My business is still doing pretty well. I'm in the six-figure range still, and my calendar is full. One of the things I learned this year is I don't need to push as much as I used to. I have been doing content for my business it'll be 5 years in January. I've been in business and my podcast, YouTube, Instagram, I'm on I think 7 or 8 platforms now. TikTok. The only thing I do now is I go live on TikTok. This year I took a big break from content. When I started, I was posting consistently nonstop. And when I mean nonstop, almost since about 2019. And I started out on LinkedIn doing that. And what I realized now, where I'm at a point in my business, is that I don't have to drive as much in terms of looking for people because I've established those communities over time. So I really love that you talked about just how important it is to really put your name out there and the consistency and the power of that. You may not see the return right away, but for me, what has really paid off is establishing communities, and establishing connections, organizations over time, where I'm no longer having to look for prospects. They come straight to me, whether it's referral, whether I've never done any type of paid traffic or anything like that, because I've always been able to speak to the pain points of my clients. And also I'm the kind of the queen of social proof when it comes to that. Favor, you know that. My podcast, which isn't a paid podcast, because of the testimonies things I have, it drives and it builds my credibility and trust. I'm at a point now with my clientele that no matter what type of client profile I have, if you go to my podcast, it's I think over 344 episodes, I'm about 15 behind. It's a big category of just testimonies, stories, impact. So I teach social workers how to pass their board exams. That's what I do. And I make average about 25 to 30K a month. And I do that pretty consistently. TikTok for me has been the driver at this point. Clubhouse used to be many years back. All I do is lives at this point, and it still drives sell. It actually drives my other forms. So all the content, reels, different publications I've been in, on LinkedIn, on TikTok. I don't want to name them all. They're all in my profile. USA Today, I think New York Weekly, Success Magazine. All those things came a couple years back when I was really blowing up. I'm at a point in terms of brand recognition within my niche that I don't have to compete with other people. Because of that consistency and being able to not only give content, but learning how to really speak to the psychology of the clients that I have. So with the way AI is now, I'm able to kind of double time that I have over the past year. So I did take a little break doing content. I'm going to get back to it, but the difference is from when I first started was that I don't have to make content at this point. I want to be intentional about how I do it, but I don't need to. And I've learned that this year by disappearing for a couple months, not intentionally. I really hit burnout. I was really tired. I had a lot of emotional things going on. I lost 2 family members and I just needed to take a break. And I really panicked, you guys. I thought like, oh crap, I'm going to lose revenue. And I found out with me disappearing for about 3 months, I did it twice, not on purpose, 2 different quarters. I did it in the beginning of the year where most people end up, really trying to drive sales. I disappeared from January to like late March into April. And I was able to make close to $80,000 just simply stopping because people saw me so much when I do my TikTok lives. It was like a FOMO effect that happened. But I was like, okay, that's going to stop. What ended up happening was me disappearing. People started looking for my old content, and it drove my YouTube conversions as well as my analytics on every other platform. And people started looking at old stuff because I had consistently posted so much over the years. So, for people that no matter where you are in your content, don't think that your content's people are not going to look for it if you've been consistent. And I've had my peers over time, over the years, where I had tiny windows of like, okay, I'm going to chill, have like a couple of weeks off or whatever, but I've never took months off. This was the first time this year that I actually did that favor. And that really surprised me, but it taught me that I'm in a different place in my entrepreneurship journey that I was when I started, and that really putting myself out there to be visible the way I did in the beginning, because I was pretty hardcore. I'm in a place where I don't have to because I've established myself within my niche in a way that I didn't think I would. So I don't know what people want to take of that. In terms of SEO favor, you're the king of that. But in terms of what I've learned when it comes to brand recognition and really getting to know your audience and building trust with them, it doesn't happen all at once. It took me, I think, when I first started Journey License, it took me to like the first 6 months when I did Clubhouse in 2021 to really establish credibility and trust with my audience. And then it took off. So it's one of those things that for me, consistency was key. And that for me, I've grown in terms of how I look at content now. Again, compared to how I first started, it's more intentional. It's not like, okay, I have to be here to make money. Now it's, okay, what do I do with this now in terms of the direction I want to go with my business, which is totally different from when I started. So I could go on all day, but I think, what everyone's saying, especially Julie, she said some really important points that I forgot to press the little heart, but I couldn't find it. Julie on. It's so important when you are really, out there creating content that you're creating it to give value, but you're also creating it to drive sales and really speak to what are people really struggling with to drive those conversions and sales. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Shara. That's a bombshell. That's a big bomb you just dropped, because you've given so much value to back up even what Julie said, when it comes to consistency. Because even in the chat, Auricula was asking too about, asking you, say, is the advice, if I understand, the advice is to not be consistent. And I didn't want that to, go over because consistency doesn't mean that you have to be actively consistent, if that even makes sense. You know how there's active income
Oh
and there's
yeah, it's
passive
going to look
income?
different. Yeah, it's going to look different, and that's something I think. Oh God, I had so many mentors and people over time, um, bigger influencer people that have bigger followers than me on LinkedIn and other places, say you have to be consistent. Well, what does that look like? Because for me, I can say over the years, it led to some periods where I just like burnt out. I was batching content constantly. Until AI came on, I learned how to do a little faster. But consistency is what you think it looks like to you. You really have to cut out the noise of what other people are doing. It's okay to look at it, you know, what they're doing, how they're pushing out content, but you have to focus on your talents, how you're reaching your audience, and how you want them to see you and your product, because that your extension, the product is extension of you, your business, you are your brand. So for me, consistency just looks like really putting out a good product and establishing credibility and trust with your audience. That's the best way I can put it. For me, I can say in the beginning, I was a big nutball when it came to pushing out content, because on LinkedIn, I was in several different content groups where that's all we did. I hated being in front of the camera. But I was taught really early of how to use it in a way where I was trained to just look at one person and speak to them. And over time, it just became one of those things that everything I did became content. I never really had to think about it, even before ChatGPT came along, because for me, I was in mental health. So whether I wasn't feeling well, or I could turn like a simple piece where I'm sitting with my son, we're doing homework together. This was years ago. And he would bring up something about being scared about doing a project or something. And I would literally turn that into an idea, a post real quick, and talking about that and how it connects to student learning with my colleagues taking their test. Like just, you know, my life in a way became a lot of those content pieces. I didn't expose a lot of personal things, but for my audience to get to know me, especially on LinkedIn when I started, it was a lot of me letting people know who I was and bringing them along the journey. Nothing I had at the time was polished. I was just starting out and just trying to figure out how I wanted people to see me. And I just said, screw all that. I'm just going to put content out there and let people tell me what they want. And that's what happened. So again, out of all I just said, I really don't like when a lot of like big influencers say, oh, you got to be consistent. Well, you don't want to burn out, because, you know, it doesn't serve you. It impacts your business in such a negative way, as well as the people that you're serving. You want to give them the best part of you. So that means being grounded in who you are and grounded in what you give, and having confidence in implementing and executing that. If that makes any sense. So consistency, to the person that put in the chat, what does that look like to you? Is that consistently posting? I mean, is that posting 3 times a week? What platform are your people living on? Are you able to establish a type of ecosystem for them? The other thing, and I'm sure Favor, you would agree, you don't want to build on other people's playground. What I mean by that, the TikTok, Instagram, all these places can go down at any time. There's someone else's business, not yours. So build your own ecosystem and have a place for those people to go. I've had instances over the years where TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those places, they would go down at certain times, and then people would just freak out. If you remember last year, TikTok was like, we had that blackout and we thought it was going to be gone, and a lot of people were freaking out. And I know this is a subtopic from what we're talking about with consistency, but what I tell people when they're creating content and when they're putting themselves out there, think about where that content is going and how you can repurpose it. Because consistency also can look like, if you have a lot of content already out there, how can you repurpose it in newsletters, and you know, your email listing and the content you already have, re-engineer it. It's not too hard now with AI if you have stuff that's already out there. So there are many different ways that you can do it. but just figure out, what does that look like to you? Does consistency mean, going hard 3-4 days a week? Or does it mean turning a live or YouTube or TikTok or Instagram into a funneling stream? There's different ways of being consistent. You just have to figure out, what does that look like to you, and not what it looks like to everyone else.
Facts. Thank you so much, Shar, for that. It's definitely a big one. You can't look at, I mean, let me even say this. Comparison is a thief of joy. We know that. So when you start looking at others and thinking it's better on the other side, and it's not really what you think it is, you have to create it for yourself and see how it works for you first. Before you even do anything for anyone else, you have to do it for yourself first. Think about all the great inventors. They had to do it for themselves first. They had to drive, fly a plane first. They had to turn on the lights first. They had to do something first before you believe in what they're even saying. So Shara is 100% right on that. You have to just see that for yourself. And when I hear consistency, I replace that word and I hear sustainability. Because if I don't have to be posting consistently, quote unquote, but what I consistently posted for the last month is still what you're listening to or learning from for the next 3 months of your content management or your next planning phase, then that's a win, because I was able to do research ahead of time, which has made you ahead of curve or ahead of the game or ahead of competition, however you want to put it. So thank you so much for that, Shara. And thank you, Tony T and Jen, for being here. Ladies first, Tony T, if you don't mind, I just wanted to, thank you both for being here.
I don't mind, ladies.
Thank you so much. No, thanks
Jen.
for bringing me up. Glad to be here. I saw the topic, Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I saw SEO and then content marketing. I said, let me pull up and see what's going on for the people in the room. My name is Jen. You can check out my Instagram at Jen the Closer. I am in the real estate space. I do speak here on Thursdays and Fridays in the mortgage syndicate, and we focus on like real estate, credit, and things of that nature. But anyway, I'm here for your room, and just listening to you, Shara, and listen to you guys speak, I'm like, my gosh, I resonate with so many things. So I wanted to ask a couple of things and also speak on a few things. Number one, oh my gosh, the turning into content. There's a couple things that I had to learn with that, like with my 9-year-old daughter, that when I look back at my phone, I look back at so many things and how I think differently now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have thousands and thousands of photos and videos and content that can be repurposed, but I had to be in the right frame of mind to want to do that. So like with consistency, that's one thing that I got burnt out on. I did the same thing with influencers. Oh, you got to be consistent. You got to post this. You have to post that. I used to not post anything. If you look at my Instagram, I don't have a ton of posts. I really don't. But I've tried different things, carousels, pictures, just different types of things that I've posted. And I have found that when I go too hard and I'm like trying to focus, like, okay, I have to post this day, I have to do this many stories, I totally burn out, right? Because it's something that you're constantly having to keep up with. So for me, AI has helped me tremendously, being able to split myself, in several different pieces, and it's speeding up things for me. So the past couple of months, I've been able to study a lot of things. ChatGPT has helped me tremendously. Claude, Nano, Banana, all those different things have really, really helped me out. Now, I'm not big on TikTok like you, Shar. You're way ahead of the game when it comes to how you're monetizing all these spaces. TikTok, YouTube. I started a YouTube channel, but I never went on there and spoke because I share that same sentiment with you in reference to like face. I hate the camera. Now, in person, I'm outgoing. I'm going to talk to you forever. But as far as getting in front of the camera, sitting there filming like these people all day long, I'm like, how do you do this? You're just sitting in front of the camera, putting out all this content every day, all day. I'm like, there's just no way I'm not going to do social media. But I was forced to do social media. I just went on Instagram, not even 3 years ago. So people consider me to be very new. I look at people's profiles and I'm like, gosh, they've had Instagram since 10 years to 2016 and, a very long period of time. But, I just found you just have to do it. I made my first post on TikTok. I was like, what am I going to post? Like, I had no idea. I went on there and I got drowned out. Those girls are professional. Those ladies that are selling in those shops, and everything. I mean, they're on there, click here, click down here. And I mean, they got that stuff down. I'm just like, wow, how do I fit in a space like this doing real estate? Because it's not a big real estate space for me there. So I started with the real estate reel, and I think I'm up to, I don't know, close to 200 views. I just posted that. So I'm learning in that space. I do speaking, and I speak very well when I'm in spaces, but I have not monetized. I could monetize better. That's probably a better way, for me to say that. I have some ebooks and things like that relate to my field. But I just wanted to, ask you about, you talked about your podcast, and then you talked about LinkedIn. That is also another space that's going to be very valuable. Oh my, you can get so many leads from LinkedIn. I got to build up my LinkedIn there. But your podcast, I'm definitely going to check that out. What I wanted to know is, since you're managing, for anybody on this page, but specifically Shar, because she mentioned that, you have a lot of content that people are still finding you from. So you have TikTok, you have your YouTube, and then you have your podcast. Do you find like one is more than the other that you're focusing on? And, how often are you putting out episodes? And I know this is like a 3-part question, but your particular audience, are they listening, on a regular basis? Like, how are you, doing that content, in a whole? Like, do you publish to all 3? I don't want to confuse you with the things that I'm asking.
No. I also have a shameless, well, it's not a shameless plug. So I will tell you, when I first started, I'll tell you years ago, I was everything. I actually have, well, now I have a small team that does all of this now. My brother is a video editor. He goes to Columbia University for film school. And he actually does now. He does if you ever look at any of my posts on LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube, he does all of that for me. He's pretty fast and he's very cheap. So because he's a student. So
okay, so you got a little plug. That right there is a major.
So
that is a major thing.
Look, I help anybody. So look, and there's also helping my brother because he needs more clients. I was like, besides me, bro, you need more. So I can put his information in chat. He's very cheap. I'm like, the boy is less than like $300 to $500 or less, depending on what you need done. When I say he's fast, he's really fast. I used to have another guy that would do my podcast. His name is Raj. He's pretty good as well, but he's been with me for about 3-4 years. He actually does my podcast. He's my social media creator manager now, and will be pretty much on in the beginning of the year. But when I started, before my brother this year, his name was Raj. I met him on LinkedIn, and when we started with the podcast was relevant because of Clubhouse. So what happened originally was, before I started a business, I used to have a study room on Clubhouse. And then here's the backstory with this. When Clubhouse started coming out with recordings, that study room became a funneling system, what TikTok is to me now. What I would do is I would put a disclaimer up letting people know, like, hey, this is a study space, it's a free space, but also letting you guys know, if you come up to the stage, there is a recording here. Well, what ended up happening is I wasn't ready to do, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do a podcast. I was like, I just don't have time. And he was like, Shar, you have about 165 recordings, MP3 files that you downloaded. He's like, they could be your, podcast. He uploaded them, and I had a whole season and a half before I knew it.
That's right? So that's content. You already had content to boost you.
Yes. So I already had the content, but also as I worked with my clients, they would readily give me testimonies. Like, okay, let's do a 5-minute, 4-minute interview. Share whatever you want, the impact of services. And they would readily do it because they were just so happy of the result that they got. And that compounded my sales. So over the years, especially with the AI piece now, when I say I have different client personas, it's because I was able to turn my clients' journeys, literally documented, recorded transcripts into content. And that's what I mean by repurpose. So every client session, every part of that journey turns into a post. It turns into email marketing. It turns into a newsletter, which is why I don't do paid ads, because a lot of people feel like I'm talking to them, which in a way I am, but they don't know I may have talked to 10 or 20 people, prospects, or that I just helped somebody similar to the pain points that they have. So that's how I was able to do that, which is why the podcast is the way it is now. Now, the podcast itself, is it broadly out there? It's on every major platform, but do I market it that much? No, not really. Now I mostly use it in house where if I get a prospect, my AI will pull the episodes that they resonate, whether it was a blind social worker that passed their exam, whether it was a social worker that was homeless that passed their exam. Some of them were like years ago. It would pull those. And then before they get to me, they're already warmed up. They've already listened to the episodes. And then by the time they get to me, it's between a 5 minute or less close. That's it. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It wasn't that sharp in the beginning. The AI made it a lot easier. Repurposing, I can't remember the platform right now I can think of, but I had a repurposing excuse me, I have ADHD, so I can be all over the place, but there's an app that I
Hey, you
have.
sound just like me. They used to hear me talking to mortgage syndicate. I do the same thing. I'm talking about this. I'm talking
Yeah.
about that because your mind, because you know you're gonna bounce back to it. So you're like,
Yes.
oh yeah, over here, and you be like, oh yeah,
Circling
yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah. Yeah,
There's a couple
exactly.
of apps. So there's Cast Magic is what I used originally.
Oh, I've heard that.
So Cast Magic, I used it for 8 different ways of repurposing my content. So from the podcast to the email list to creating master prompts that would turn every single piece into a repurposed content for the specific platform that I want. Now I still do some of the content strategy planning because I love that piece. But right now I've kind of just been laying low, even though everyone's like, they were on the Black Friday holiday piece. But that's some of it. I am going to put my brother's information if anybody wants it, because when I say the guy is fast, I hate video editing. I hate it. I hate it to the core. I can shoot 30, 60 videos, 3 or 4 months of content and get it done in 4 to 6 hours. I use scripts. I'll take my pain points, turn them into content, and it's over. That's it. Minute and a half for a reel or whatever. And I give him over to say, hey, or you go ahead, chop this up, do whatever. And he does it and it's done. But I'll put his information if anyone wants it. He's a student, so he's cheap, but he's very professional. He goes to one of the top universities in the country, and he has a lot of resources for film. And he gets a lot of mentorship from a lot of bigger film companies that he works with, especially in the Hollywood industry. So anywho, what was the other question that you had? Because I feel like I kind of went over.
Look, I might even be all over the place with my reply. No, thank you for that. That was very, very
That was enough?
valuable.
Okay.
Now, that was very, very valuable information. And what for you, it sounds like you found a way, the magic pill for your content to repurpose everything that you already have going on, because you already have
Yeah.
a lot of established channels. So for you guys in here, like,
Oh,
on
TikTok. I
yeah,
forgot.
TikTok.
That's what you're asking me about.
I
Yeah.
was just
So
getting to it. I was
yeah.
just getting to TikTok.
Yes.
I'm like, we ain't gonna
TikTok. I
forget
forgot.
TikTok.
So
So
TikTok blew up for me because I found a way, because I wasn't posting. I started going live on TikTok in 2023. I was like, I don't know if I'll go live. And I started going live, and a lot of magic happened with some official TikTok people. That's what I'll say. But if you start going live, you can get the attention of a lot of people and that are higher up on the platform, because they push lives a lot. It's the fastest way to grow. So with lives, if you ever check me out, I go live only once or twice a week, and I have a huge, big board. It's called the Vibe board. It's a big 50-inch touchscreen that I use. No one has it on TikTok, but look into it.
I
They're on
love
sale
that.
right
That's
now.
my next one. I love
Yeah,
whiteboards.
reason why I say get that, because it's a very, very huge visual, and it blew up my metrics. It comes with an AI camera that I use, and I teach there, and it's touchscreen. So every time I go live, people love visuals, and it blew my metrics up as well as my revenue, double revenue, about twice the income I would have had in just a year when I started, and it hasn't stopped since. What TikTok now has been to me is it's a top funnel. After that for me is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Well, I've got YouTube is up there too. But what ends up happening is that I end up creating a kind of a little show around my teaching, because I deal with licensing, which is not the most interesting thing, but I like to make it fun. I dress up in costumes for Halloween. I was the Conjuring the Nun. This next week I'll be dressed up as the Grinch. I like to spice it up.
Look at
Yeah,
you.
I
If
do
I
all
go
types
with
of
the
things.
costume, they
So,
would go crazy if I put
but
on a costume.
I'm telling you, because
Oh my gosh.
people love it, and I thought, I was like, don't know if I would ever want to be taught by somebody in costume, but they loved it. Like it, I got like 50 leads from dressing up as the Conjuring the Nun.
Look
People
at
were
that.
ecstatic. So with TikTok, people love authenticity. They love real. And I'm just like listening to you. I'm like, oh my God, her voice, she's beautiful. Girl, if you'll go ahead and and use that and stop playing
Man,
and go
I
live, do behind the
know.
scenes. If you're talking about real estate, do also behind the scenes stuff. So even if you're going live and you're at your desk and you have like a one of those camera hosters, people are going live and not doing anything. They're just there talking, but they also may be working, co-working.
They'll
People
just
are very
watching.
nosy. Yes, yes. Mhm.
About like a vibe board, or I'm doing, I like to do something with my hands, like, hey guys, so we're,
Oh
looking
yeah.
at
So
this
if
and
mhm.
that kind of thing. The front
I'm gonna
facing.
actually put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat, and I'll put the vibe board besides my brother's information in the chat as well, so you guys can see it and just get information there. But definitely feel free. Oh, favor, you put my podcast there. Definitely feel free to check it out.
To see what you got going on. Now, you didn't mention
Oh shoot.
Instagram a lot. I didn't really hear you
Instagram,
saying
Instagram and
Instagram.
Facebook. So Instagram and Facebook, I do use them. I used them earlier in my I'll say earlier in my journey. They're older platforms, and what you'll find, depending on what your audience is, I've learned that over time, like I'm on there. Am I really that active? No. When I am, my brother will upload those posts there, and people still go find me there, because at one point, when I didn't have, TikTok or even YouTube, Facebook and Instagram and Clubhouse was my thing. Clubhouse used to be the feeder to my Instagram and my Facebook. So I do use those. Instagram and Facebook, they've changed so much over time. I'm on those platforms, but I'm not as active there. You'll see me like post stories there, but when I do post content, it goes to every single platform. Now I also have an assistant. When I do post content, I don't post it myself. All I do is just give the content to him, my assistant Michael, and he uploads it with borders. And he's also pretty cheap as well. He's like $250. So there are various ways that, to not get boggled down anymore. I'm all about delegating now, because because I'm building a platform, I just don't have that type of time that I used to have, because my caseload and my audience has grown so much that I've learned now that I'm at a point where I have to start delegating so I don't burn out, so I can build a bigger ecosystem and holding more value. So that's where I'm at in my stage of my business journey. But if you don't have the money, or people don't have the money to, delegate just yet, it's definitely something you want to invest in early, which is why I'm at a point where I don't feel like I have to rely just on myself anymore. I was everybody in one, and it literally, like the first 4.5 years, it killed me. So being able to delegate and finding affordable, I won't say cheap, affordable help, especially places like, Fiverr. There's a couple other ones of people that
Mhm.
actually will do it for you, and you just go ahead and delegate it. I even have somebody, for LinkedIn, and a couple other places that, really help me in terms of making sure that those pages and, things stay alive for me. That's how the big people do it. So
Oh, that's a fact.
I just try my best to do it that way now, because that's where I'm at in my journey. But when I started, it was me uploading everything at once myself, and it was when I say hot mess manually, it was, but I did it. Now I'm like, I don't even know how I did it back then, but I did. But it's just important to really know where your audience lies. For me, TikTok now drives all my other platforms. So even if I'm not there, like I'm still getting leads from YouTube, and I haven't posted on YouTube in, I don't know, maybe like a couple of weeks. No, it's been more than 2 months now. And so people will see me on TikTok, and they're like, oh, I got to look at her other content. So I have a link tree of all of my platforms: podcast, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, my consult, all of those platforms on one link. And what happens during the live is after, when it's about to end, I'll say, hey, you guys go check me out on all these other platforms, do a consult, or just check out more content, test strategies, whatever you need. Go look those out. I'm only on here about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, so if you want more strategy or support, look at my content or reach out, and they will do it because they want more. So what I found is that for TikTok, the algorithm is very strong. So TikTok for me became the funneling system, not only to my business, but it became the funneling system for my other platforms. But I also have a community on school where I pull those people off to make sure they're in my ecosystem as well.
Thank you for that. No, I appreciate that. You definitely have a lot going on, and you definitely figured out how to monetize your content. Key here is delegation, 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 kind of thing, and picking the content. I downloaded StreamYard. So, I'm getting there with more of the front facing content. Like, okay, well, if I get StreamYard, I'm going to be able to stream, to everything, all at one time. But there also has to be a plan. Okay, well, what happens after I'm streaming? What am I doing with that content? Am I focusing over here? Am I focusing over there? How am I connecting with who my core, audience is at the end of the day? Because I don't want to be all over the place. I just don't want to just, if I'm going to, go on TikTok and be strategic about it, it needs to make sense. But stuff
Oh,
like you
yeah.
suggested, like vibe board, that's totally me. I'm a person that can go back and forth. Could I put on a little outfit? Sure, I can flip my hair around. Hey,
And
but
I would say also get a moderator early. So also
oh,
I pay somebody to be my moderator, and they're cheap as well. So I've been getting people in all these little places say,
yeah,
hey,
you got a
so
deal. Sound like you got a whole
yeah,
social
yeah,
package
yeah,
set
yeah,
up.
yeah, oh yeah. So I have a moderator, and I can let you know where they came from, but I have a moderator that actually moderates my live, because when you get to a point, it would just be way too many people. You can't, after a while, especially if you start really getting. So there's a whole back strategy to all of my lives. So it's not just me going live. I prepare a structure, a funneling system behind the live to pull those people off, because they want more of the content that I give them. But some of them may not also know that I'm also doing a soft sell without selling them at all. They may not even realize it. Oh, she's just giving free content. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm giving free content,
Right.
y'all, but y'all also don't know y'all only getting a small piece of the
Oh,
tea. So
exactly. Exactly. I do the same thing with myself. I'm like, all right, here's this. But if you get a consultation with me, a paid consultation, man, the sauce is being dripped out from the pores. It's a different kind
oh
of
yeah.
it's a different kind of thing, and people resonate with you, and when you can resonate, you can monetize and, do a lot of other things. So no, your journey sounds like crazy. I'm going to follow all you guys, man. I'm just like, wow, she's got this down. I'm going to follow. What's your handles? Is it in
Oh
your,
yeah, all of
I
the
saw your
handles are
profile photo.
yeah, if you go on my Clubhouse pro, all of them are there. So
Yeah, I saw that. Is that the upgraded profile?
yeah, so I have the what is the I forgot what this is called,
The
Fabian.
Yeah,
What
I've
is it
seen
called? The
plus.
that.
plus? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. What other feature do you like besides that? The only thing I like about the upgraded plus so far, I don't have it from what I've seen, is how you have your links. That makes it so much easier than the one Instagram link and the other links. What would you guys say is the biggest benefit of the profile besides that one?
When I joined, I decided to do this. I think the only feature that I would say would still keep me on this platform within that, a plus, and I know they're bringing new features as well, is the viewed profile section. Because I treat it like LinkedIn. And if I'm in a room and I'm connecting with people and somebody views my profile, that's a signal for me. And I treat signals with intentionality. So that tells me somebody is interested or wants to find out more information. So I use that specifically to make sure that I can reconnect to people after the room closes down, or I'm able to, talk to them and see where they are and see how we can connect off the app. So I use it for that intentionality, because if I'm on this app, $4.99 a month against my time a day, it's a no-brainer. So when I think about the connections I'm making on the app, it's more intentional, and that has allowed me to grow. The last room I did before this one was I think, yeah, it was before Thanksgiving. And I was talking about 5 years being on Clubhouse and the 5 things I've learned from being on the app. And now with the podcast, hitting 600 episodes, and we're in 155 countries. We're about to hit the 12th season, in January. And now on the Amazon network, it now tells me a lot about, like what Shara was saying, just making sure that your content is evergreen. Your content is strong. So using Clubhouse and being here is a good way to be vocal about what you want to discuss, because when people are talking about stuff in the room, they find this content and they find it relevant, they'll come back. So using the plus definitely has helped for me, and it's about $50 for the year. So once you sign up and you have it, you're ready to go, and you can use this app to connect to people who you're talking to and you're talking with. That way you're able to have more intentional relationships and build even better. If they started with this in 2020, I think would have had deeper connections by now, because I've met Shara, I've met John. These are people I've known for years, on this app. We are like friends now, and we're just, always connected and always giving back and always showing up for each other. So that's the whole point of this app, is community. So I would get it if I'm being intentional about connecting, because I treat it like LinkedIn, but in voice mode.
Got it. So I think I missed the beginning part of it. You said for you, I heard everything after about you connecting with people. How is it connecting you faster versus somebody not upgrading? I missed the first part of what you said. I
Yeah,
apologize.
it's the profile views. So when you have the profile views here on the app, this plus now allows, if you tap on my profile now, it will tell me that you saw my profile. So I'm able to send you a message and say, hey, thanks for checking my profile. Thanks for connecting with me. Thanks for joining the room. I saw you earlier today. How you
Got it.
doing?
Got
Yes.
it. Like
So
LinkedIn, you're able to look and see, hey, this person's looking. Okay, I totally missed that part. Okay, got you. So for you're using that like as a soft lead, somebody that's interested or they looked for a reason. How can I help you, kind of thing.
correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's definitely a great, thing you can be able to do. And especially with the links too, you can have multiple images. Like if you click on my image and you see that it has a couple of slides, I have about 6 slides. So I'm able to show you, I think the fourth slide is on my profile, talks about chatbots versus search engines. It's an infographic there. So I use it, you can use it for editorial reasons. Let's say you have a room and you want to discuss something and you have slides, you can let people watch or, check it in full frame. So you could use it for so many things, and that's why this app just keeps on giving, and there's going to be much more coming as well. So definitely using this app has helped build connections. Think about content marketing like we're here today. And even let me ask you this, Jen, how did you find the room, and what brought you to the room today?
For me, I just happened to, I'm actually writing a book, my second, but I'm working on, I've been doing very well with my ebooks. I'm writing, but I'm sitting here writing a book, and then my phone, it was just sitting up and the notification popped up. I don't know if I follow the room, or I guess I'm following the marketing club. I don't know, but it's just a notification or something like that came up, and I read Pinterest and SEO. And the reason that I clicked on it is because in my new book, that's what I talk about. It's called Pinterest to Profit. Because not only do I do real estate, I also have several e-commerce stores. So like for me, delegation is also key. But on the real estate side, I have to navigate differently. So I clicked on it for that. I was like, oh, Pinterest, they're talking about Pinterest and SEO, my kind of talk. Let's get in there. So had you not had that up there, I would not have been in here to connect. So I know that, being in rooms and the power of that definitely can make a difference. I mean, when we speak on like Thursdays and Fridays, I mean, people show up to listen to that content. They're constantly, they come, they want to learn, and we're teaching and we're speaking and stuff like that. So that's what made me pop in here today. So I'm glad that I did.
Thank you so much, Jen, for this feedback. Yes, this is exactly I'll call it the creme de la creme, like the ribbon, on on this amazing room discussion today, because what you just said is so helpful. Because when people are clicking, you clicked because you saw Pinterest. If I didn't put Pinterest then, it was just SEO, it wouldn't have clicked the way it did, because Pinterest would have not been in the equation. And using those key terms, those key phrases, is where content marketing for businesses comes in. Because when people are reading from left to right, you're also thinking about the syllables people are reading too. So I talked about Pinterest earlier when I started the room, and I said that I'm doing more Pinterest rooms because all the platforms that I'm seeing from LinkedIn to ChatGPT, even to WebGuide today on Google, to Perplexity, to Pinterest itself, I'm seeing that even AI is responding more to more Pinterest topics. And I said, you know what? I'm going to cover Pinterest in a very large spectrum because people are using the platform and they want to use it for better reasons, but they don't know how to navigate the platform. We run ads on Pinterest. I've talked to Pinterest four times, about 3 people on staff, 4 times in the last week, because we've been handling a lot of things to do with Black Friday, into the new year, into Christmas. In between that, there's Valentine's coming. We got a plan. There's something called Q5. If you've never heard of that, there's something called Q5 in business when it comes to Pinterest specifically. So when I'm looking at the times and the seasons and the search graphs and all this stuff we're talking about, is great. And like Shara was saying earlier too, in what she said earlier about content marketing, if all the things that you're doing has no first party data acquisition, then you're wasting a lot of time and energy. In other words, create a proprietary informational base, which is your website, own your intellectual property and build your domain, and then have your email content platform, your CMS, your content management system, which operates within your CRM, your customer relationship management system. And you build that bridge together by using content marketing skills and ways of building that connection, so that if anything happens to any app, you have a copy. If let's say Instagram goes down today, I have a copy on Pinterest, I have a copy on my website, I have a copy in my email. Just like you have a copy of your hard drive in another copy of another hard drive. So when you think about it that way and not just treat it like social media, quote unquote, it changes the perception and how you're able to disseminate, how you can actually decide how far you can go, with content on social media today, in today's world. So thank you so much, Jen, for bringing that feedback, especially on Pinterest. So I'll be doing more rooms like this, definitely, to talk more about Pinterest trends, Pinterest ads, especially for you even in real estate. I was thinking about what you said too with your books. If you have, ebooks that could be $1 or 99 cents or even for free, or guides that people can have access to, and you have a website, you can have a catalog on your Pinterest, which you can even run ads on and get to know which products have the most impressions, the most traction, and you can use that to repurpose into your email marketing system. So there's a lot you can do with Pinterest to get analytics that are going way beyond what happens on Meta on those platforms too. So that's why I wanted to bring Pinterest and content marketing together, especially for you with books and
Oh
Amazon,
my
because Amazon and
gosh.
Pinterest,
Yeah.
yeah, Amazon and Pinterest made a deal. So it's big.
Or I've been using that for years on that side, but I haven't used it a lot on the real estate side of things. But for sure, I mean, that's why in the book that I'm writing now for e-commerce, I have a whole chapter on pin to profits. With analytics and stuff like that, because you look at it and it's like, oh my gosh, that's like a gold mine sitting here. It's like I tell people, how they can monetize, but I'm like, okay, I need to start monetizing more of, my internal things. And with my books, everybody was like, oh, put it on Gumroad, put it here, put it there. Now, I did put a free book that I had on, I did put it on Gumroad just for that one checklist. I haven't even logged in since then, but I'm big on maintaining my own domain. I mean, like jenthecloser.com, that's my main website, but you'll find on there, I sell my services, and that's where I sell my books, directly on there. But people were like, oh no, nobody's going to buy from you if you put it directly on your website. You need to put it on Amazon. You need to put it on these third-party sites. But I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great, but I still need to have the main source. You always need your domain first, and then you can outsource to some of the other things that then drives traffic back to your main website, all in the end, like an ecosystem. It's all, works together. So no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me up. Valuable information. I have not seen this room before. Do you run certain days? Is this new, or maybe I just haven't really watched the hallway, but how often do you guys come in here?
That's a good question, and that's a very valid question. I haven't been running rooms just for the last, I would say, because of Thanksgiving into, I would say, today. But technically here in the marketing club, and Jen, we follow each other. It's probably because we follow each other once, and then that was it, and maybe
Oh,
the
we do?
notification. Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Look, I didn't even know. I didn't even pay attention to that. Okay, great. We do follow each other. Okay. Is that your podcast too at the top? Is that
Yes.
I'm gonna check you guys out. That's on my. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was like on my list. Everybody's like, you need to get into doing voice podcasts with your voice, man. You would just skyrocket with your voice. And I'm like, do I have time to do a podcast? Do I want to do a voice podcast? I'm just
Girl,
Yeah,
no,
no.
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That means you need to do it. So do not make me have to put you out there and make you accountable, okay, for what you just said. So now you have to. Nope, we're not going to do that. And I only say that because I think if I would have stopped with, I'm not going to do a podcast. It's like I don't have time. I had the same thoughts you had. I'm telling you, don't do that at all. Just start.
Oh, with the
Just
timing.
start. That's
Okay.
all
I
you
was
need.
like, wait a minute. What?
Yeah,
I said,
yeah,
let me find out the podcast.
yeah.
No, because everybody is always like, look, you're not a big face front person, but you love to talk. You love to speak. You would just be a great personality doing this. And that's what I did. The first thing I said is, well, how could I have the time? And they're like, no, that's you. Cause you're more of a, you're kind of in between introvert and then you're a little outgoing, then you're an introvert. I'm like, I know I did that. It's those self thoughts that you tell yourself, like, there's no way I have time. I'm doing
Self-limiting
this.
beliefs.
I'm running this. I got to do social media. I need to implement more delegation. I'm, running off that key woman, key man type policy thing that I'm the visionary and I got to have an integrator. I need to have like an integrator and then more people to delegate out to in order for me to focus on some of these other things. So no, thank you for saying that, because that is the number one thing I say to myself on the podcast. Not, I don't have the time. There's just no way. And does anybody want to hear what I have to say, on a podcast? But one thing I've learned, if not anything, when I watch Instagram and everything else, is that people say with the content who have had these thoughts that they kept putting out content and they just kept putting it out. You don't worry about what they say. Just keep putting it out and then just boom, you never know. You'll have an audience, 1, 2, 3. But no, so thanks for kind of like putting me back in check on that. But yeah, that's my first thing. Sometimes I'm like, nah, there's no time to do it.
And just to even like, I'm still in the middle of the delegation. This is something I'm almost, I'll be 5 years next month, and I'm just now getting to that point of delegating. This is not something that I've been doing forever. I think the only person I had on my team in a year and a half that I started was Raj. After that, I started adding people as I went along. And then it got to a point where I had to learn how to be a leader. Because I'm a social worker. So I'm used to a 9 to 5 and being told what to do. So I was also learning and growing of how to lead people and then being confident in leading them and building a team and trusting my team.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna lead me down a
I've been
rabbit
through,
hole.
I'm sorry, in the trusting people and learning how to also protect my intellectual property. Maybe that could be a wholly different discussion paper, because I can tell I got horror stories
Another
on
topic. I was
that.
gonna say we did that yesterday when we were talking, and we went down the rabbit hole of talking about Nano Banana, Notebook LLM, Gemini, Pomeli, all these apps that we're trying to get everybody to start using. Like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that, and then you start going down another rabbit hole. But the trust factor, that's a whole nother topic that'll keep you
It is.
here
It
for
is. I know
forever.
favors like I know you're
But
gonna have to in the room.
well, hold on, guys. Hold on. Someone just said, "Hi, guys. It's John." Someone just said, "Oh, I can't do a podcast." Girls, I've been listening for the last 10 minutes. I can't get a word in. Of course, you could do a podcast.
Hey,
Together, right? Sorry, John.
Good. Dang, girl, you should do a podcast tomorrow. Like,
Facts.
hey, okay, well, yeah. You guys can be my first guest. How
Oh
about
my
that? No,
God,
no, just
I
saying. But
won't mind. I'm on.
my gosh, that is hilarious. But true, that's a good point that you just made, and that's how I love listening to a good podcast where the people can go back and forth and they have a camaraderie about themselves, and they don't have to have the same topic. It's about having like different viewpoints, of different things, because the things that we're talking about are from the experience of our lifestyle, what we learn, how we perceive things. So, yeah, that's kind of funny, but yeah.
here's the fact is that you have the ability, just by listening to you for the last 5 to 10 minutes, you have the ability just to talk with yourself and like just pretend you have one or two people listening and then record that. So what I would, if I were your coach, I would say, hey, go get a outline of here's what I'm going to talk about, and then just start recording. Hey guys, it's Jen, and you just start going down and start talking, and you're there. You don't even have to have a guest. Like for your first 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, just get it going.
Think about that, and that is true. I am good with something like that. Honestly, if I didn't have a guest, I could do that whole thing. And I just started noticing podcasts where the people, and I just recently paid attention to this because I was kind of leaning towards the podcast side. You ever watch the people on Instagram that are doing podcasts? They're sitting there in this room kind of like to an angle, and they act like they're answering a question. I used to really think there was somebody on the other side, and then I started learning. I'm like, there's nobody on the other side. They're just really good at speaking as if there was somebody there. You know what I'm saying? Like that is definitely a skill. I probably could definitely do something like that. I don't think anybody would
Yeah,
know.
totally. Well, look at all the famous what I don't know what you even call them. News people that just have the talk shows, right? The talk show hosts, right? And they just sit there and do a monologue. It's called, yeah, there we go, monologue. So you just start talking. You go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, build me a monologue on this subject around my expertise." Of course, hopefully you've fed enough information. And then once it spits it out, go through, edit it, and then put it up on a doc, and then start recording. I mean, I think that just doing a monologue, you don't even have to get on camera. But if
Yeah,
you
I
know,
love that. No camera. That sounds like my lane. Like I'm over here worried about this. I'm still
We
going to work
gonna
on
we gonna
that.
get you on camera, Jen, eventually. Because no, we can.
Well, I'm
well, I
doing the
mean,
podcast first,
yeah,
then we do the camera. How about that?
Yeah,
We
I'm
gonna
gonna
start.
put you. Yeah, yep. Don't maybe be inbox and become a stalker now.
Oh
You done
my
made a new friend. See.
God. Oh man. No, that's a great idea. Now, John, what do you do? Do you have so Favor and Shari, you guys both have a podcast. Do you have a podcast, John? Where do you are you fit in this panel? Like what is your thing with marketing and digital and stuff like
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah, good question. So I am I'm an agency. I help a lot of clients, coaching, automations, AI, a lot of SEO, and so I've done over 1,500 videos, but that kind of incorporates coaching. So some of those are just private. But I've been a guest on podcasts, but my thing right now is running tutorial educational videos. But to answer your question, for the last 20 years, it's been helping clients with their marketing through traffic, conversion, and follow up. So 1, 2, 3. Traffic being SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads. Conversion meaning the way to convert a visitor into a lead, which Favor, I got to tell you about this new service I got. And then the back end of automations of taking that lead and running them through different follow-up methods inside of software automations.
nice. Okay, so you deal with people like on the coaching side of things. When you said 1,500 videos, what do you mean by that? Like 1,500 videos front facing to the world or with
No,
customers? What do you mean?
no. So coaching, educational. So my goal right now is to take, yeah. So it's client facing, private coaching behind a closed door. But my goal right now, like my 2026 goal, is to take educational tutorial videos. Like, hey, you want to do X? Here's how you can do this, and then with a CT at the end. So with an offer, some type of software offer. So that's going to be on my YouTube channel. So right now, like 2026, my big thing is my big goal, and I know that YouTube is where it's a lot of the traffic is at right now.
John, if you start a YouTube, please start a podcast indirectly, because if you let me say it this way. If you don't start a podcast indirectly and you have YouTube with the kind of content you have, the way you'll be pulling out from LLMs, large language models, will be insane. Like that's what I'm having right now, because the podcast, there's an episode on Apple, there's an episode on Spotify, there's an episode on Pandora, there's an episode on SiriusXM, there's an episode on iHeart, there's an episode on Listen Notes. So it's just spread out like a distribution channel than one to one, because YouTube is great, especially for depth. But now if you're taking that into a podcast and you're using the video version on Spotify and using the audio versions everywhere else, then you can really take it to that next step, put it into Pinterest like we talked about earlier, and then you can just resurface that back into Google. So using a podcast with your content that you already have and then just structuring it based on audio responses is going to be golden.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep. I'm glad you said that. I received that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm super excited that you're taking this big step, because I'm looking at businesses and I'm just wondering, okay, people are going to keep, subscribing to apps, downloading, getting this, delegating. And even like Shar was saying, I guess to a point where you have to know when to step back and when to, have more people in the room that do better than you, or have a team that is able to work and function in a very convenient and fast, efficient way. And that's really like what we've all talked about, when you're having content marketing, how are you training these content pieces, right? If you have content marketing as a business, what is that content marketing looking like? And you're looking at a high value content offer, like a lead magnet. Most times we may say, okay, is it a lead magnet? Are we just going to run content for that content sake? Or are we just going to do it because we have an offer, we have a sale, we have a workshop, or we have a course? But if we're able to do it at a much deeper connection with a much better intent, then I believe more people will be coming back for more, because you're able to give them something that they actually need after they get what they want, because most times people are searching,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Facts. And what I learned with the book that I wrote, I mean, it's a big book too. Everybody's like, who writes an ebook that long, or a book that long for the first book? Because, you got people writing ebooks that are 10 pages, selling them for $25, or giving away 20 ebooks for $10. And here you have my premium book that's 240 pages, but it's a very intense foreclosure book for a certain kind of person. Now, I could have split that up in 3 different ways, but I did it. It is my second edition. However, what you just said about the connection to the consumer. So what I added with that is a strategy call. So I have the book, and then I have my second book, which is Foreclosure Defense Letters plus a strategy call. So what happens with that is when they make that purchase, not only are they just buying an ebook, right? Because most people you buy an ebook from, you're scrolling on Instagram late night, you buy it, and then there's not really a connection. You might follow them, but you're using it for a need. You don't necessarily know if you could go back to that person for expertise per se. So like with my book, with foreclosures, it's like, okay, you purchase it off my website, but it's like a system there. So you need help with the foreclosure, you're going to be able to come back to me and submit that lead and get assistance with it. You're going to be able to book an upgraded consultation if you have an emergency situation, if you're an investor, and I use my foreclosure property checklist that I give away for free as complimentary as the lead magnet to get in there, to the book and into the strategy call. So what you said right there is key, because they feel value, like, oh, well, if I buy this from her, I'm going to be able to come back and get assistance if I found a foreclosure and I need help. So creating that connection piece, that is massive value.
it's big when you start treating, and nurturing and giving them something that they can cherish and that's sentimental to them. Then they'll be the ones to decide, because you're giving them the ball and now the ball is in their court. So you're able to now do it from an attractive point of view, as opposed to a standoffish or like a salesy, type of view. And there's a question I want to ask, and welcome V to the room. Thank you for being here. I want to ask you a question, and hear your thoughts on this. And then I'll come to you, V, because I would love to hear your thoughts, questions. I just have a really important question to ask, because Jen, you just said this, and I talked about this earlier, but I want to kind of give like a live test. And if you're in the room, you can put it in the chat if you choose either one of the two numbers. If you had something Picture this. If you had something, and we're going to go around the room too, Shara, John, Jen, and V. If you had a question about something and you knew the answer to this question is behind this ebook or this product, quote unquote, would you rather pay, and it's not a trick question, would you rather pay $0 or would you rather pay $1 for this product, and why? Anyone can go, and then we can go around the room because I love to hear everyone's thoughts.
Anyone can go what in the
No,
chat
on
first?
stage, and then yeah.
Okay, well, I can go first on that. I mean, but I think a little bit different when it comes to the whole marketing thing because I've tried different things. I'm literally a serial entrepreneur. I can't tell you the last time I've worked a 9 to 5. So I've tried different things. I've had different businesses and things of that nature. So for me, perceived value is always when I'm paying for something, I perceive it as getting value rather than not getting value when I'm paying zero. So it depends on the user and the person, in my opinion, right? So, when I'm giving away something complimentary, I'm also including other things in there, like a lead magnet. It's leading to something else for that side of things. But the thing is this, I feel like when you're constantly giving away free, oh, here's this free, this is free, that's free, this is free. Some people, they'll download it and they don't read it. But if you're putting a price tag on it or some type of paywall or gateway to it, they perceive it as value. Like, hey, you know what? It's $50. I learned this, what you're asking, I learned that with consultations. I barely just put my 15-minute complimentary consultation back on there. And that was just only because it was a certain thing I'm doing with my book. Other than that, all my consultations are paid. But guess what? I used to have them at $0. I felt that, oh, I have to give away free consultations. That's how I'm going to get business. That's how I'm going to connect with investors. It has to be this way. Everybody, who charges for consultations? I'm like, well, wait a minute. The more I got into this with all the knowledge that I have, in real estate and everything that I'm offering with the mentorships and everything that I paid for, I'm like, oh no, I have to have the consultations. But guess what? The value to the end customer for me, they'll pay the money for the consultation and you're getting more of a valuable person on the line asking valuable questions versus the free. They would just ask, they'd be all over the place, or they just pick your brain and ask you 1,000 things just to get something for free. But that's how I feel about it.
Love that. Thank you for that feedback. V, go ahead. We saw you too. Welcome.
What's going on? I have to say, anything that's free, you're just gonna get a snippet. But when it costs, you're gonna get the full process. Don't know everything from point A to Z. Like exactly like she said, there's more value when it actually costs.
That's true. Okay. I love that. John, Shara.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. That was mine. Oh yeah. See, let me make sure I turn it up a little bit more. So I'll make this quick. I really agree with what Jen said because that's also how I learned to go from charging. And I'm almost sad to say this. I used to charge $25 back in the day for what I did. It's now $5 to $10K for what I do now. It was something I had to learn how people perceive my services based off of how I valued myself. That was something I learned really quickly and had a good mentor that said, if you want people to value your services, put a price tag on it. People will invest in things that work. They will invest in a result. So for me, pricing, that's a whole different psychology. But when it comes to books, I had 2 journals go 5-time Amazon bestseller within 3 weeks of each other. This was in 2022. They were both only $20. They were really lead magnets. Because I'm a clinician by training, I use them as a funneling system. People bought those books, those journals to help with their mindset. And it led to more sales in my one-on-one and group coaching because of it. They were cheap investments that led to a bigger sale because I invested into their mindset. That's a cornerstone of what I do. So for me, I think it's important when you're building a product, whether it's a journal or a book, you're building a community around it. to me, it was the easiest way to be able to sell without seeming too salesy, was learning how to reach my clients and putting a reasonable price tag that didn't undermine the value of the product, but very much was able to be a lead magnet for them. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go on mute because my nails are wrapped up right now. So I'm going to put myself on mute. Self-care time, y'all. I'm
Hey,
here though.
it's Friday. You got to enjoy and treat yourself. You deserve it. Having a wonderful weekend as well as the start of the month and end of the year is exciting. And thank you so much, Shar, for saying that. I'm loving the feedback. It's because I'm hearing everyone's, perspective from Jen to V to Shar. Welcome, Polyfy. I'm excited to hear this because there's a reason why I asked this question. John, we'd love to hear your thoughts too if you're available.
Yeah, 100% agree with Jen. Anytime you pay for something, it's more valuable. Yes, there is those times you can give stuff away, but you might even try like $7, so like not $1, but yeah. So definitely paid. A low cost ticket definitely would weed out people, and 100% do it paid.
Okay. The reason why I said $1 and not more than that is because I was thinking about the difference between a free trial and a paid trial. And when you look at the difference between those two, people like, Shara, you talked about the psychology of pricing. People see it differently. Like, why is it so low? Or why is it free? Or why is it so expensive? Why this? Why that? But the value you're putting on it, like you can put a red shirt and then just put a Supreme tag on it, and now the price goes up. It's not because the quality of the fabric changed. It's because the perception of the brand was infused into the product that you're seeing in the market. So when you're now looking at it from the value exchange of pricing and value, that's why I was saying like $1, because that dollar could be a newsletter. It could just be access to tools. Maybe it could be a toolbox. It could be something that's a digital token. It could be something. So it could be any price value. But when somebody has a free trial and they leave their email address, psychologically speaking, when I look at it from the technical standpoint, if somebody leaves their email, like Jen was saying, oh, I'm just going to get this free ebook and I won't use it, right? They probably gave an email address they're probably not going to check consistently, or they might check, but they may miss that, compared to something that is a paid trial or a paid investment that they will send it to the right email so they don't miss the confirmation email or the invoice or the receipt or any type of forwarding information that will help them through the process of the business operation. So I was looking at it from that point, and Jen, you're so right about that. V as well, Shara and John, spot on, because when people pay for things that they pay attention to, they pay more attention to them more intentionally because they're looking for the outcome of the investment that they're spending based on time, money, and energy.
If I can add something to that, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but
Yeah.
you get certain types of people at different price points. And that's something I've had to learn. When I was charging $25 and giving a lot more value, it had more to do with me undervaluing myself. But when I had someone at $500 compared to that $25 customer, or someone that was $1,000, they were willing to do the work. Okay. And those people that were paying $25, they weren't. So it's like, I'm wasting my time. So you also have to be careful when it comes to pricing, especially if you're doing coaching, because your time is of value. So you're teaching them by pricing accordingly, how to value themselves, invest in themselves, and invest into quality services that work.
Oh my gosh, I want to add on to that too. The thing with that I have noticed is there has been times when, just like you said, when I had a lower price or I was giving away something free, and then you put a price on it and you're like, oh, well, is this too high? Are the people going to pay for it? And then you get the tire kickers like, oh, well, no, I'll get that over here at YouTube. Okay, well, then go ahead and go to YouTube. That's fine with me because that's a good filter for you because you weren't ready to book their premium service. So when I set my consultation prices, it depends on who's looking at it. So if somebody looks at my prices, my consultations are about $200 to $300. I think that's the most expensive one that I have right now. I still feel like it's being undervalued. I had a whole marketing thing done. And somebody said, how are you doing all of this in a consultation, showing somebody from A to Z how to structure this, and that's all they have to pay you is 200. Yet you'll have the other customer the person that was paying the $25 consultation, they'll think that's just such an astronomical price. Oh, there's no way I'd pay, 200. So it is a point of also mindset when you got to set the price and stand on it. You got to talk the talk and know that's what it is. The price is the price, and you're not being cocky about it. It's just, it is what it is. You have to start believing in what you're doing and understanding that you have an expertise on something that people want. And when people want something and you're providing a solution, people will pay for that, especially people that are really seeking, those things. But that is a fact. I just had to chime in on that. And so adding paid consultations was the best thing, that I could do. Because on Instagram, how you guys are more active on the other places, Instagram is more of I find a lot of people DM me there. It's the DMs, the questions, this and that. I don't know. Do you guys answer questions on there? I don't have mini chat, but I do have set up the automated DM. I find a lot of people want free things on Instagram because that's my main, source of communication with them. They're wanting things. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you send me this? Can you send me that? How do you guys, if you don't mind, and not to change the way of the room, but with that value, providing free value on email or Instagram or TikTok DMs, do you guys take incoming?
I would just say this quick, and Via and Qualify, please let me know by thumbs up if you have a question or something to say, because I know you raised your hand, so I want to make sure I can answer the question as well. Jen, great question you asked there. When I look at, and I was glad to see you as well, Sharon, Princess, Nick, Nate, Joe, Ella, Lavetta, Hand, I see you all here as well. Thank you for being here and listening too. Appreciate you guys for being here. When you asked this question, Jen, it got me thinking about something. Intellectual property. That's the first thing you think about anytime you're thinking about content marketing as a business. Intellectual property. If I post on this platform, well, what's that going to do for me for the shelf life of this time? Because, for example, a website with a blog, that's 24 months you have as a lifespan compared to an Instagram post, which could be 72 hours. So you could stretch that through 24 months with a blog that has an Instagram connected on your webpage, which can expand and extend the lifespan of your message, or of your content, of your title. So when you're using other platforms like third-party platforms and you're adding on subscriptions and you're building, you can use ManyChat to be more specific on how you deliver if you post consistently. But if it's in the DMs and people are responding back to you and like you say, it's going right into your messages, that's a good way to communicate. Or you can post something and that way it leads them and say, okay, put in the word this, it works. Like I know even like with Diary of a CEO, he does that a lot, with, his show, where you're able to now say, put the word brain, and then people put the word brain and then they're getting the episodes because it's coming from a source. So it's that funnel that you can create on the back end. But those are things you can create and automate all day. But when I look at it from like you said, like the communication, the conversation, and how you're connecting with the people that you're actually posting to or connecting with through posts, it changes everything. And then when you're able to now use this to now actually take them from just having an investment to now actually taking time with you, it changes completely. And the more your people are paying when it comes to pricing, it switches. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the more that is being paid, the less time you have and the more delegation you get, because it starts to change completely. And for me, like even these days, which has happened a couple of times where I would be on calls and I'm talking to not even people, but AI. And this is a company paying $1,000 an hour to ask some questions about certain things. And when people now ask about, services, and I say how much it is and how we're actually helping with your services, which is from, 25 and up, you start thinking about the delivery and you start thinking about what that is coming back to you as a resource and also as a gain based on your branding. Because when you look at content right now as it is in 2025, come 2026, all the content that you have out here, where are people using their phones, their tablets, their computers to search. They're using their voices to search on Siri. They're using Alexa. They're going to ChatGPT. They're going to Google. So if you're not in these places, these buckets that you could actually be on through social media, but it's not stemming from the top of your search and you're using it just on social media, you could burn out. And let's say Instagram goes down today. You can't get in those DMs, Jen, what's going to happen? So I love how you're moving them off the DMs into the conversations in virtual rooms, in physical rooms, in physical spaces that you can actually connect with them at a deeper level and get off the app. So you're able to first protect your intellectual property, get people to connect with you, and then move them over so that you can now connect to them through email. And then from that email, it changes, because if you now do an investment email or an investment that somebody has to put their email into, they're going to put their best email forward so that you can get the best experience for both parties. So that's really where that exchange comes in, and using social media is really great. It just depends on where you want to show up on, and starting professionally would be LinkedIn, and Instagram is great too. That's why I was talking about Pinterest today. Just not leaving your content on Instagram, posting today, we're in December, and then come December 2026, we're looking for the same post we did today then in 365 days from now, as opposed to creating content now that 2 years from now, 24 months down the line, you still can benefit from what you talked about today in tomorrow's time. So it's just stretching that out that can really give you that longevity as well. I hope that helps.
Oh, that helped out substantially. No, thank you for breaking that down, because see, like you, I feel like this is a boardroom. You think on the other side of things, and you see how I think in like this pocket, and Shar thinks, on that side, but I didn't think of it from that point of view. But that is true, is getting them off of the social media into another funnel, because if you just leave it there and it shuts down, like what is actually happening? So no, that definitely was helpful. Thank you so much. I know a couple other people had questions. This has been very valuable. And I'm going to definitely be tapping in with you guys. I'm going to probably get out of here in a little bit, but I am going to stick around because I want to hear what other people have to say.
Jen, this is John. I just messaged you on Instagram. I just sent you a DM.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got a couple ideas for automation.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Thank you.
This is great. Thank you, John. Thank you, Shar. Thank you, Jen. Amazing session today. And the fact that you came here because you saw Pinterest is what even makes me even happier, because this is just it was just icing on the cake. So I appreciate you for spending time with us today. V, I wanted to come to you and ask you, did you have any question, anything you wanted to say before I go to qualify? I just wanted to make sure I can tap in. Be going once. If you're speaking, you're muted. Okay, V may be V may not be available. So V, just let us know when you're back. Qualify, would you like to say anything? Question, comment? Welcome.
I just want to comment on something which Jane said. And sometimes I feel that people, especially for new starters and beginners of different social medias and the people who render services, it's sometimes good to start with low prices, because testimonials are very, very important for people who want to trade with you. And because sometimes you, especially for people who make use of Fiverr and other social platforms to get your client, if you set your business on a very high prices, sometimes may make people not to just even no matter how perfect you are, sometimes I feel testimonials are very, very important. Reviews, people who sell the reviews, because sometimes these reviews brings about referrals, which are very, very important for your business. Thank you.
I'm gonna say this. It really don't matter about the price as long as your presentation is right. A lot of people don't have mobile-friendly websites, and on top of that, there's a method when it comes to pricing. Whatever product you got, and one of those methods is to utilize that 0.99 cents at the end of what you're selling. So say like you have a product for like $24. You want to sell it for like $24.99. You want to make the point of that is to make people feel like they're at a brick or mortar store instead of them being online and purchasing. You want to make them feel like they're still at the store when they're buying your product online.
Exactly. Exactly. You just nailed it. And you got me thinking about something you just said, V, because I was looking at this earlier today, and I was looking at some tracks that I've made. I put it on my Instagram in my story because I'm using 2026 to get back into music and entertainment when it comes to jingles and creating more sounds and also putting them within commercial licenses. And when you talked about the 99 cents, it makes sense. And it also makes sense, both CENTS and SENSE, because when you're creating that value, that perception, that mindset, even when you go into a grocery store and you're getting, $3.99 for a pound of onions or whatever you're buying, in groceries, you're mentally calculating, but you're also moving in a different way that's going to allow you to have a seamless flow with the pricing structure. And when you do that online, like you said, having $1 or 99 cents, looking at, let's say New York Times, or looking at, any of these platforms that you're able to purchase, to even Bloomberg, if you want to get into their network, you have to pay a nominal fee, to get in. So when you now look at those little things, it grows, because from that 99 cents, you can now pay $99. You can now pay 99,000. So it now changes the trajectory of how people process stuff. And that also goes into your marketing as well. So, that what you said is also very valuable. I just didn't want people to forget that part. So thank you for mentioning that too. And, Polyfy, you mentioned when it comes to pricing and whether people are going to buy it or not, people are going to buy it. Like, I'll be honest, I don't know how other people do it, but I'll speak for myself. It's easier for us to, win $20,000 deals than win $20 deals. Not because the difference in the value is so wide, but when people value and exchange their time for the result, there are things that they're able to consider at a much faster capacity, and money loves speed. When you have an idea and you turn that idea into an actual tangible product, when you're able to test the product and evaluate the success of the product, you can increase that price as you go. You might say that is maybe $1 right now, but that value may actually be $50. It may be $500. But when people see the value and the exchange of the value that you're giving them as an offer, that's why incentives and marketing and psychology and SEO and all these things we're talking about today with content marketing for businesses is involved. So it gets deeper. It's never going to stop, but we're going to keep learning. But these are all very important pointers that are going to lead us back into getting much better basis, so that when we now write content in our captions, anytime you write a caption on Instagram now, on LinkedIn, on Threads, on Facebook, just know that the first 50 to 60 characters with spaces are keyword friendly. The whole caption is keyword friendly. But if someone's going to search for something on Google and that keyword that you typed in your caption on Instagram is showing up on Google, that Instagram link can show up as a result in the Google search results page. And you just showed up because you were part of the search filter. So you have to be intentional about your marketing. That's the whole point of today's discussion. You can talk about anything on the web, but if what you're saying is not resonating, it's not clicking, it's not impressing, it's not validating, it's not reaching, it's not being seen, it's not being even being searched for, then it's going to be hard for you to still get that connection. So there has to be a bridge, right? Two people have to come to an agreement to make something happen, right? So let us make man in our own image. That was an agreement. So there has to be an agreement before an action is made. So I hope today's room was really giving you insights about all this. We talked about Pinterest. We talked about content marketing on different platforms. It's not just about Pinterest, but if you can use Pinterest as one of your anchor points, and you're using Instagram, you're using LinkedIn, using your website, you can definitely get there. So this was a great room, and we have a lot of guests in the room. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you all for being in the room today. Yeah, let's go ahead. What would you like to say? Go ahead, please.
My takeaway. A mentor of mine a long time ago said every master was once a disaster. everyone has a starting point. I know when I started, I'm if I didn't, mess up or just, I was always somebody that just tries things. And when I look at what my journey was a couple of years ago, I didn't know what I was doing. And now I'm hitting a mark 3 to 5 years where, they say most businesses failed. I made it to 5 years. So I would just say, I know it sounds cliche, but just start where you are. There's going to be a lot of people telling you a lot of things. You have to cut out that noise and do what you feel is right, um, along with building a team of people around you that are going to support you. It's a lonely journey. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And that's where I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Shahara. That's big. Yeah. You just have to look at the process and trust the process. Sometimes we want to get to the journey and get to the destination so fast. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. My podcast, 600 episodes now, I'm thinking back. I'm like, when I was in year 2, 3, 4, I wasn't thinking about monetizing. I was thinking about getting shows done. This year alone, I think we've hit, 130 episodes recorded.
I remember when you started. I remember, yeah. So I've known Favor. I think I've known you since the pandemic. It's been what, almost as long as I've
5
been in
years,
Clubhouse.
yeah.
5 years. It's been. Me and him came in around the same time, and I remember when Favor started, and the growth over time. Now I don't talk to Favor all the time. A lot of times it's through social media, or we'll maybe hit each other up every once in a while. Most of the time it's been here, but Favor, I have to give kudos to you because your ability to create spaces and community and engagement, around pieces that matter, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. Again, it's lonely. To have even that virtual friendship with you has been quite a journey with watching you grow with yours. So I cannot not say that for you. That just watching you grow, it's been an awesome journey to see.
Thank you so much, Shara. I appreciate you. Yeah, you got me thinking back as you were speaking. I was like, man, it goes back. We go way back. Like when you think about a 5-year relationship, a 5-year friendship, a 5-year partnership, a 5-year business relationship, whatever you want to call it, it has a lot of things that goes behind it, and that consistency is key because a lot of people came back, and we're still here. John as well. We've been here for a long time, so I'm super happy and excited that we've been able to do this at a large capacity and a large stretch, and still do it for people, because every time we meet people all over the world and we don't know who's listening, sometimes I'm sure you also get this too. You look at replays and you wonder, when was the last time somebody listened to this, and was, a week ago, but that episode came out 3 years ago. So you just don't know when people are listening or connecting or tuning in, or what you say, that one thing you say just resonates and clicks, and, just makes a whole lot of difference. So thank you so much for saying that, Shara. And, there's so much we can do out there helping a lot of people with our shows, with our voices, with our experiences. And that's what makes what we do unique. And if we can do it, you can do it. We don't have any superpowers, when we just make sure that it's done, and done in a way that you can be proud of, and you can look back and work 10 times harder than you did before, because you're able to now know what it takes and do it at a better capacity. So I think about it now and I'm just like, wow, time has really gone by. My podcast, full transparency, I'm sure you guys already heard this before, but if you've never heard this before, if it's your first time hearing it, amazing. My podcast has been on Spotify for creators for 5 years. And in my 6th year, I remember when I was celebrating the 6th year, I was like, I want to switch it. I really want to switch it. And I feel like it was time for me to turn my podcast and monetize it outside just the way most people would say monetizing podcasts would sound like, which is just like, getting guest shows, or, maybe signing up for sponsorships where you're able to get this or get that. But I was thinking about like actually having a radio. I've always thought about it like when I first thought about podcasting as far back as 2011, because I said, I want to have an internet radio one day. And then my first radio, pop up was in 2012. And then I even worked at had a radio station in 2015, 2016, and it was a house of about 4 radio stations. And this was even in Lagos, where like all the big stations are different demographics. And you get to see all these celebrities, artists walking for interviews, and you're like, wow, this is how radio is. And I was like, you know what, one day I'll still have this internet radio. So come fast forward from 2015, 16 to 2025, 2026. I'm now looking at my podcast, and you can hear commercials on the show before, you hear the episode roll. And the brands that are signing up to the Amazon network that I'm connected to, it's actually fascinating. I found a new brand. I'm not going to talk about it now until I do some research, but I saw they signed up to request to be on the podcast and run their own commercials. So I said, you know what? This is a really good app. I feel a lot of people would love to have. So I'm going to do some research and I'll get back to you guys on that. But once I approve it and I bring it here, I'll let you guys know what it looks like and what it's all about, if you're interested in it at all, because it's something to do with, just making right decisions, financial moves, and also having a best secured way of, building yourself as a business owner. So these are things that I'm learning. I don't know everything, but the way I'm learning from you guys is amazing, because I'm able to open spaces and hear from you. Everyone has something to say and everyone is valid, because I can learn from you, you can learn from me, and we can learn from each other. And that's how it's supposed to be. Nobody's above the other, only God's above us. So we need to just look at each other and make sure that we are doing things that we can do with our time. And that's why I said, hey, I'm not going to just do something like this and run, but I want to make sure that if you're listening and you're understanding this concept, and anyone that said anything today that resonated with you makes sense, then I'm happy that was achieved, because by doing that, you're able to now take the next step and not have to worry about anything that was thinking about or processing within your scope of work between the last time and now. So I'm glad you've been able to be here and share this space with us. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you all. I don't see any questions in the chat. That means all hearts and minds are clear. So I really appreciate you guys for being here as well. John, would you like to say anything as a takeaway before we go? Wanted to make sure that we can cover the room.
Yeah, guys, appreciate you. Favor. Merry Christmas, everybody. Starting off the holiday season here, just wanted to let everyone know that I appreciate all of the interaction and all of the information and all these rooms, and this is such a valuable room. We did talk about automations, and if you're looking to automate your social media or your internet marketing, reach out to me. My name's John Marenko, and my website is marketingbypermission.com. Be happy to show you some automations that are really cool. But yeah, Favor, thank you. You guys have a great Friday night. I am going to go out on a date with my wife, and thank you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, John, and enjoy. It's a wonderful weekend, and I'm so glad that we've been able to be here and share the room and the space. Definitely, it's a big lesson, and for me, I've learned a lot from you today. So this has definitely given me more insight, and glad to see you as well, H. Thanks for being here. Nate, I see you. Sharon, Nick, Ila, Lavetta, Hans, Cynthia, and Faye. If you have a ticket, qualify as well. At the very top, it says Marketing Club. There are hundreds of replays here. I would say like almost 200, 300, 400. If I go all the way back to the first episode that I did here in the Marketing Club, it was November 2021. So that episode is still here. And there's more. So you have a lot, plus the podcast. There's just a lot. So, and of course, rooms are here consistently. So definitely just be here. And the best way to really see if I'm having a room is to follow me. And then when you follow me, you'll be able to see 3 dots on the right. And then it says notification settings. And you can turn that to always or sometimes, depending on, if you want to listen to the rooms. But I always make sure that my rooms are open and they're also connected, and you guys can get to hear from me, because I normally do this on a frequent basis. And this month, I'm going to be doing it a lot. It's my birthday month, so I'm going to definitely be doing a lot of rooms here coming next week. So I just wanted to kick it off this weekend and start off something nice before we get into the new week and discuss more strategies. So thank you all. Thank you for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm looking forward to being here in the next room. We've talked about the power of Pinterest, SEO plus content marketing for businesses. And I'll definitely be here again with more Pinterest topics like these. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you guys in the next room. Now, that was an episode, right? Thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I'm so glad that you're here and you are sticking tight with us, especially to the very end. Now, this is season 11 and we're going to do it differently. And I want to make sure that every episode you listen to has something to give back so that you can also learn more after you listen. Now, We Don't Play podcast show is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. So if you're in any of those positions out of those 4, please make sure that you reach out to me. Send out an email through info@playinc.online. That's info@playinc.online. Or you could go to playinc.online, which is a website, www.playinc.online, playinc.online, and schedule a call so that we can get you on an SEO discovery call to talk about your business and help you with your marketing needs. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this helped you. See you in the next episode. God bless you. Jesus loves you.